And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's officially Jennifer's last work day for the year. She just shared that with me off camera. So I'm super excited that Jennifer makes the time to teach us about recurring revenue. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on.
I'm so excited to be here.
It's a pleasure. And we've connected through the WP Agency Summit this year for the first time. And ever since we spoke, I was really impressed with the work that you're putting out, and especially everything related, growing agencies, scaling, branding, creating predictable income streams, all the good stuff. So can you take a minute before we dive into the presentation to introduce yourself? And while you're doing that, I would also love to encourage everybody who's watching us to let us know where you are watching from. That's one of the best things ever in these webinars, is seeing people from all over the world connect in these spaces. So let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, type the word replay in the comments, and we'll make sure that we follow up if you have any questions. With that said, Jennifer, please tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you are doing.
Sure. You're going to see a little tiny bit of that when I jump over to my slides. But I think the biggest thing, if you have no idea who I am, or we have not come in contact over the social media, world or anything like that, I think the biggest thing to know is that I've been doing this a really long time, which means I'm getting old. But the fact is, for more than 20 years, I have been working as a full-time graphic designer, web designer, agency owner, all the various roles throughout my career. And one of the things that I realized very quickly when I started my business was that I didn't have systems and processes in place, because nobody teaches you how to run a business, right? You start your business because you're great at what you do. And then you jump into it and you're like, oh my gosh, my business was growing faster than I could have predicted. Things were very crazy. I was working, 16, 17, 18 hours a day, sometimes 7 days a week, with a toddler and a brand new baby when I first started my business. And things were crazy. And I kind of got to a point where I thought I wanted to quit my business. And systems saved that. Right? Systems brought joy back into my business and allowed me to stop working nights and weekends and take vacation. And most people who come in contact with me now know me from cooking or working out or all of the vacations that we take, because we travel about 9 weeks a year normally, obviously not this year. But systems and working on my business, not just being stuck in the rut of working in my business and churning out client work, changed everything for me, and the quality of life that I experienced with my family and the people that I work with as well. So I think one of those things is just, to know me is to know, like, I'm still in the trenches working a 40-hour work week every day, like every other person. But I got to a point in my career where I realized other people could really benefit from all the work I put in to develop these systems in my business. And so, along with doing my regular agency work and client work, I now run programs and mentorship programs and things like that to help people achieve the same kind of things that I've achieved.
That is so cool. And I would love for you to share your screen so that we can dive right into the good stuff about the recurring revenue riches.
Definitely. Let's see. Oh, select window of screen. Yep.
There we go.
Perfect.
Brilliant. So let me make this full screen so that we get all the goodness.
Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hold on.
But we don't see the slides just yet.
Oh, it says stop screen. Hold on. Let's stop sharing and reshare.
Yep. So everybody watching, you are working with professionals here.
Recurring revenue. Share screen. All right. Do you see my slides now?
Yes, we do.
Woo! We love that.
Brilliant.
Okay. So we are here talking about recurring revenue riches. Do you have anything you want to say about this before we kick off and we dive into all the juicy goodness of today?
I would just say that it is really damn important to have recurring revenue in your agency, and that bringing it on for me personally was the game changer from hustling and having those nights when you're not sure how to pay the bills in the next month to sleeping well, and especially now my daughter is 6 months old by now, so I'm very familiar with working hard with a toddler. So yeah, recurring revenue just makes life so much easier and stress-free.
It does. And we're going to talk about that struggle a little bit. I think the biggest thing that we want to know and pay attention to is, again, I've been in the trenches. I've been working in agency life. I've been working in client services my entire career. And I do a lot of different things. I've got my hands in a lot of different pots. You might see me from different courses or programs or things that I run. But this training today is kind of a sneak peek behind the scenes of my flagship program, Profitable Project Plan. We cover 6 lessons, 6 weeks of recurring revenue training in that program. And today we're getting a little sneak peek of that. We're getting a little bit behind the scenes. The difference is we have a very limited amount of time here. 6 hours plus of dedicated training on recurring revenue. We get into an amazing amount of detail, sample packages, pricing, plans, scripts, templates, you name it. But today we have a short amount of time, so I want to get you a lot of value in this little bit of time. And the thing we need to know is that recurring revenue riches are like the Holy Grail for service businesses. It's the thing that everybody is aiming for because it's taking pressure off of our own selves to perform 24/7, right? When you have a reliable foundation of monthly recurring revenue coming in, you then have freedom, right? Freedom to invest in your business and hire team members or explore working with subcontractors. You can focus on actually forecasting and planning for the future and doing things that are going to set you up so you're not working nights and you're not working weekends, that you can invest in setting up systems and processes and automations and document those things so you can delegate it or, again, use software to automate it. Now, most service businesses are built around selling one-off single individual projects. And it's because it's easy, right? It's easy and fast to get started with a one and done model, and it's simple and straightforward. So clients super understand it, right? Their business model is the fastest path to struggle, though, right? It's the easiest to get started and the fastest one to set you on the train to like crazy town. Frustration, overwhelm, and fatigue all come when your only source of revenue is a one and done business model. You do the project, you launch it. You do another one and you launch it. You do another one and you launch it. In that one and done model, your revenue is 100% tied to new sales. It's tied to that one income stream of you closing a new sale, one after another, after another, after another. And if you're not making sales, you're not earning revenue. This makes it almost impossible to take a break. This makes it stressful to go on vacation. If you've ever gone on vacation and still worked and answered emails and checked your contact forms and had sales calls because you were worried if you didn't close that sale, you might not get that money coming in and you might not be able to pay your bills. That, oh my gosh, people, is a terrible place to be. And your family doesn't appreciate it either. There. I know, because again, totally been there. You get on this feast or famine roller coaster, right? This is a phrase we hear a lot. Businesses that only follow that one and done model have massive income fluctuations from that freelance roller coaster, right? What typically happens is to meet revenue goals, you have to have a certain number of sales every month. And making those sales takes a lot of time and energy and effort. You're having calls and emails and putting together proposals and more calls and more emails. Right? Once you've made a whole bunch of sales and you've landed new clients, then you are flush with cash for a short period of time. There's not very much pressure to make sales, and you have to do the work. You have to deliver on the contracts and produce everything that you sold. That takes even more energy and effort and resources. And you're so busy serving your clients and doing the work that you don't have time for sales and marketing and hustling up new business, so you kind of put it on the back burner. But when you put it on the back burner, sales go down. And that creates a slow period in your business with fewer clients and less revenue. So you freak out and then you sell and you market again. And so you're going in this like up and down, peaks and valleys, highs and lows roller coaster. And the problem is that eventually you're stuck spinning your wheels. You're limited on what you can do because you have tight margins. You are only one person, or maybe you have 2 salespeople, right? But you're limited by your sales capacity and your ability to scale. You're also exhausted from always being on the hunt for the next client. And I don't know about you, but in that part of business, you feel like you're always on the verge of burning out, right? From trying to balance the pressure of having to make sales and do the work and having to make sales and do the work and everything else that's going on. And at the same time, you want to do an amazing job for your clients. The hard truth is that when the ability to pay your bills rests solely on your shoulders and you have to close all the new sales constantly, it is a crushing amount of stress. And it's exhausting when you have to hustle up new business 24/7 and repeatedly starting over with new clients makes you feel like you're on this never ending, like little spinning wheel, like those little things that spin at the park that you're like, hello, goodbye, right? And that is no fun. Now, don't get me wrong. I poo-poo on that model a lot, but that single one and done model has its merits. Thousands of people have built successful businesses using this model. I built a multi-six-figure business with that model, a very, very profitable one where my net income was nearly my gross using that model, but I basically almost killed my sanity. Right? And my family suffered as well. So the problem with that model is that it creates those wild income fluctuations, right? Those peaks and valleys are highs and lows. And when the highs are amazing and the lows are awful, in the highs, you're making lots of money, you're feeling amazing, and you feel like you can accomplish and do anything. But the lows, when you're struggling to make ends meet, you're stressed about paying your mortgage or your people, right? And you lay there at night and you're thinking, God, can I even make this work? Right? Neither one of those are necessarily things that you can sustain. And it breaks my heart because there are a lot of other options. And that's what we're here talking about today. There are options for recurring revenue, and it doesn't matter what your skill set is, how much experience you have, or what price range you operate at. Every single person here has the ability to add a recurring revenue stream to their business. And the thing is, there are plenty of tools and resources, solutions, things available to help you make that happen. Even if you don't know where to start, even if you're not sure what to put in your package, you can complete it. You can add it to your business. You can get started right away. You can make a completely different results in your business if you choose to. But to see change in your business, you have to be willing to change the way that you do things, or to change what you're offering, or to change your price point, right? That's an important thing to differentiate, I think. If you want change to happen in your business, you have to be willing to make that change happen. Multiple revenue streams protect you and your business. If one revenue stream slows down, the other one can carry the weight and get you through that slow period or a downturn or a recession with less stress and fewer sleepless nights, right? So when you have one income stream and it tanks, you're screwed. You have multiple income streams. If one goes down, the others can step up for you. The key is making sure those income streams are recurring. They're not that one and done model. It's okay for one income stream to be one and done, but not all the other stuff. Recurring revenue is revenue that comes into your business over and over and over. It recurs every month or every year. And it's a baseline of stable, reliable, predictable monthly income that you can depend on. Recurring revenue allows you to finally stop living project to project and paycheck to paycheck. And there are 4 core ways in Profitable Project Plan that we talk about that. In website support plans, and then long-term development retainers, in search engine optimization services, in graphic design and visual design services, and in content management and content creation services. Now, again, if you're not sure where to start, what to offer, how to package these, what to say, how to sell it, Profitable Project Plan, in my program, each lesson provides sample packages, small, medium, and large, pricing, small, medium, and large, scripts, templates, and trainings on how to add this to your business and how to get started and how to sell it to your clients. Now, I want to talk about each one of these. So website support and development retainers first. The key here is to avoid the commoditized race to the bottom, right? Most support items like backups, uptime monitoring, things like that, they're all commodities, right? When things are commoditized, they're standardized. across to all different services across your industry. And when they're standardized, they can be easily compared. When things can be easily compared, people start saying, well, which one is cheaper? We don't want that. And when they're commoditized, they're often interchangeable with similar items at a lower cost. This creates this race to the bottom of low-level pricing and low-level clients. Care plans that are built on commoditized services and nothing more are hard to sell at a high, good price point, and they're hard to retain because you're competing with low-level, bottom-of-the-barrel services that are going for quantity, right, of people. The thing that works in your favor when you're selling website support plans or development retainers, things like this, is that you are the unique factor. You can't be commoditized. You are not a commodity. Your experience, and I don't care how much of it you have, but whatever experience you have has value, right? And your knowledge has value. Your clients wouldn't be coming to you if they knew everything. So you knowing more than them means that you are bringing value to the table. Clients are hiring you to take care of their website. They are hiring you because they trust their business in your hands and they trust you. That's the value that you're selling. When you're selling support
I would love
plans,
to jump in real quick. Because we have this very inspirational, I think, comment from James who says he's up 50K in recurring revenue, which is 40% of his business. So that just speaks to the point that you made, Jennifer. He clearly has more than one income stream.
100%.
And he's up even in the global pandemic. So James, kudos and thank you so much for sharing this.
That's fantastic. It's amazing what we've seen happen over the last year. Really quick, before we get into those slides, that's some of the success stories and the things that we've seen through Profitable Project Plan over this last year is, you know, I'm talking to other people and business is struggling and they can't get clients and they're really worried about it. But we're seeing the opposite. In Profitable Project Plan, we're seeing people who have doubled their revenue this year, you know, who have all the clients that they've needed, right? Who are having their best year in business ever during a pandemic when other people are struggling to even get clients. So it shows that with the right systems and the right mindset and the right approach, you can really make things happen no matter what the business climate is. And some of it, I think, comes back to understanding things like selling access. Right? Access to you and everything you know about websites, digital strategy, and the industry as a whole. When someone hires you, right, they are hiring you because they want access to you. They want access to everything that you're learning, everything that you're bringing into your business as you're investing in growth. They want access to new tools that you learn about and discover. And they want access to your team and services they might need in the future. So the true value, yes, all the little things in support plans like backups and uptime monitoring and all of those other things matter. But you want to bring in that element of personal connection and access because that's what people really want. They want to know when something goes wrong, who can I call, right? When something happens, who's got my back? Now, the next one I want to talk about is search engine optimization, right? Most designers and developers are already doing SEO. They're already building sites to be search engine friendly and discoverable. They're already formatting content according to best practices. You're already adding in title tags and meta descriptions to get clients started, right? You're already answering questions and providing consulting. SEO services, the thing to remember is that you have to charge for that work. Most of us just throw it in our website packages because clients need it and we should be doing it, but we don't actually put it in our proposals or in our contracts or put it as a line item or charge for it. So we need to charge for that work and prime the client for the fact that this isn't a one and done thing. Right? Your initial SEO efforts to launch a site lay a strong foundation for long-term success, but for clients to get the amount of website traffic needed to reach their goals, they have to invest in monthly ongoing SEO efforts. Right? Most sites that are underperforming, most clients that aren't seeing the results they want, it isn't because their site isn't good. It isn't because their site isn't converting. It's because they don't have enough people coming to the website. Most sites have a traffic problem, not a conversion problem. and you can help with that. Now, if you're nervous about stepping into a technical service that you aren't trained in, which is the pushback that I often get about SEO, right? But I'm not a professional SEO, but I haven't been in that industry for years, but I don't know everything there is to know about Google. Stop worrying about it, because when you invest in the right tools and partners, right, you can offer great services you can be proud of and confident in. Tools like Pathfinder SEO, for an example, right? I love the service that they offer. Right? They are an SEO agency that still works with clients day in and day out, so they walk their talk. But they've got offerings for freelancers and agencies where they support you, right? They give you all the tools to do keyword research. They give you videos and training on how to do it. And you get a monthly call with an SEO professional to review the work you're doing for your clients and point out any little mistakes or things you should tweak or what you should be thinking about. So you have a pro in your back pocket checking your work along the way. It's a great option for people who want to ease into this space and for people that want to add this recurring revenue stream, but you don't want all the stress and pressure sitting on you solely to be the expert. Like, how great is it to have somebody you can just talk to once a month and say, hey, can you check my work? Hey, I have a question about this particular client's SEO strategy. What would you do? And they'll help you. It's the same idea when you invest in programs like Profitable Project Plan, right? You have somewhere to go when you're like, oh crap, I'm in this sticky situation with a client. I don't know what to do. You can ask and we'll give you ideas, right? The other recurring revenue service I want to talk about is graphic and visual design services. A lot of people think I can't offer these services unless I'm a trained graphic designer. As a trained graphic designer, I would love to say, yes, that is true, because nothing breaks my heart more than sad, terrible design. But this simply isn't the case. From a business owner's perspective, anybody can do this. The key is shifting client perception from being a luxury to being a necessity, right? We don't want clients to look at ongoing design services as a necessary evil, right? Or something that it's a luxury, like, ooh, only people with lots of money can do this, right? We want them to think about it as a necessity. Like, if I want to be successful and I want to reach my goals, I need to invest in design. The key is aligning your services with clients' business, ego, and revenue goals. Now, business goals might be growth, certain things like that. Ego, I have clients that are like, look, I just want to look better than Joe over there because we have this business rivalry and they just launched a new thing and I want to look better than Joe. Like, it's stupid, but it's real life. Like, I literally have clients that say stuff like that to me. So ego goals and then revenue goals. They might have revenue numbers they want to hit. You have to demonstrate how your design services can help them get to those goals and then communicate the importance of design. Design is like clothing for a brand, right? You get up and get dressed every day, and what you wear signals to the world who you are. It gives people an idea of your personality, right? You're making a choice on how you want to show up in the world, and design does that same thing for a brand or a business. The thing to remember is that every single thing that you see, everything, was designed by someone at some point. Someone made the decision to use that typeface. Someone made the decision on that alignment, on what went on that page. Even terrible design, someone worked on that and thought it was good enough to put out into the world, right? The thing you want to know is that as long as business and commerce exists, design is an in-demand service. Every business has to communicate with customers and compete in their market, and design helps them do that. In fact, a study done by the Design Council that studied companies on the Financial Times Stock Exchange found that companies that emphasized and invested in design outperformed other companies by 200%. Design shapes perception, and that can lead to more sales. The bottom line, though, is anybody with internet access and a smartphone can create great design assets for business these days. Anybody, which means even if you're not a designer, you can do it too on the fly with apps and tools and different things that put design in the hands of your average everyday person and not trained designers. Now, you might think, well, great, clients can do design themselves. Why would they hire me? Clients don't want to do it themselves. They don't have time, they don't want to, and they just want somebody else to take the work off their plate, right? Now, the last of the four things that we're talking about in terms of recurring revenue is content management and content creation services. You want to help clients actually use the site they invested in. They paid a lot of money, spent a lot of time, and put a lot of work into building their website. The biggest thing in their way of being successful is actually using it. Like, I don't know about you, but I can't tell you how many sites I've launched on behalf of clients that had grand plans for content marketing and blogging. And 3 to 6 months go by and I'm like, dude, you haven't published anything. What's going on? Right? They're getting in the way. You can help increase the ROI of their website investment by helping the client publish content regularly, by helping them use the site that they paid for. When you do this, the client enjoys better, more impressive results, and they're way happier. And you get better testimonials and client success stories for case studies. Right? Nobody wants to spend a bunch of money on a website and then have it sit there and do nothing. One of the things I realized in my business was that I could have an even bigger impact working with clients to help them publish content regularly than actually getting up some tricked out fancy website. The thing that you want to know about content services is that you can do almost anything on behalf of your clients, right? You can just be the person that says, send me your blog post after you've written it, and I'll get it published. I'll copy and paste it into WordPress, format it, add the categories and tags, drop an image in, and I'll be the person that clicks publish. It can literally be that easy. Or you could do copy editing or copywriting. Right? You can run the gamut based on your level of comfort in terms of services. All you need are irresistible packages, a smart contract that protects you, systems to simplify the process, scripts so you know how to sell it, and the right tools to make it easy peasy. We cover all that in Profitable Project Plan. Now, regardless of the monthly services that you decide to offer, there are 6 mistakes you want to avoid when you are building recurring revenue into your business. And I want to cover each of these 6 mistakes, but I also want to tell you how you can fix those mistakes. So mistake number 1 is not offering different options, right? There is no such thing as one size fits all in client services. Not every client needs the same thing, wants the same thing, or has the same budget. So one package at one price point can alienate people, and you risk losing out on potential recurring revenue. So instead, I like to craft a 3-tier package model: a small, a medium, and a large, or an introductory, like test the waters, see how it goes. A medium, like this is the no-brainer best value package, and then a large all-in package. This is what it looks like. So a basic plan that's super affordable, a mid-tier plan, it's the best value, most irresistible option, and that high-end plan at a high price point. That high price point makes that middle-tier plan look even better. Right? That's the key. You want that high price point in there to make your middle plan, that best go-to value plan, look even more irresistible to your clients. So anytime I'm putting together packaging and pricing and things like that in my business or for my programs, we're always looking at that 3-tier model. So we have flexibility. Now, you might not show every client these tiers. You might not say, hey, here's my small, medium, large plan, pick one. But having them in your back pocket means you can say, for this client, this is going to be the best choice. This is the option I'm going to put in the proposal. This is the option I'm going to pick. But when you have all 3, you get to choose how you present them. Now, for each recurring revenue service that you offer, for each that I cover in Profitable Project Plan, again, we include examples of each of these practices, each of these pricing models, and what's included, all the things. Now, mistake number 2 is not incentivizing a yes. You have to make your offer super juicy. If clients are on the fence, what carrots can you dangle in front of them to sweeten the deal and to increase the perceived value, right? What can you do to incentivize that yes? One thing is guaranteeing them a better response time than everybody else. If your normal response time is, hey, you'll get a response within 48 hours, well, maybe they get it in 24. Maybe they get it same day. Maybe they get it in 4 hours, depending on how much money they're spending with you. You can give them a discount on future work. One of the things I do in all of my support plans is, hey, if you have a monthly support plan in place and you're already paying me every month to take care of your site, you get a discount on any additional work you hire us for. So let's say if my average hourly rate is $150 an hour, maybe support plan clients can invest in new work and their projects will be priced using $125 instead of $150, right? They save when they have a support plan in place. You can also give clients higher priority scheduling. Based on the amount that they're spending with you, you can move them up in your workflow. If a client is spending a lot of money, right? I have a client who has an 80-hour retainer. They are always first, right? They always have high priority. When they want something, they always go to the front of the line. You can also include premium plugin licenses. If somebody has a support plan in place with you, as long as they retain their client status, they can use your licenses, right? But when they leave and they don't work with you anymore, they have to pay for those licenses themselves, right? That adds a lot of value. By adding incentives to your packages, you're creating a more compelling reason for clients to say yes. You're also making it harder for clients to compare your support plan offer with somebody else's. When all you have is a bulleted list of commoditized services, they're like, okay, you offer these things, they offer these things. Which one's cheaper? When you start adding in these other juicy, irresistible things, it's harder to compare, right? It's harder to look for the cheaper option. Now, mistake number 3 is not communicating regularly. You cannot ignore your clients. When you're doing a one and done model and you're working on active projects, this doesn't happen. But when a client goes into support plan mode, a lot of us, because we're busy, tend to ignore those clients a little bit. They go on the back burner. We deal with their site once a month, maybe, right? The biggest reasons clients leave or quit paying you for ongoing monthly services is because you ignore them, right? Businesses want to get clients and customers on the hook for recurring revenue, for monthly payments they can depend on, but they don't want to spend the time nurturing those relationships so that every month that bill comes in and they say, no brainer, paid. No brainer, paid. You cannot sell a retainer though and offer monthly work and ignore your clients, right? If you do that, your clients start to wonder, what's going on with my site? What's happening with my content? What's happening with my rankings? Why am I even paying them? Are they really even doing anything? Can I get rid of this monthly fee? And we don't want to be there. Consistent communication every single month keeps you top of mind so that when a client has an issue and they need something new, they think of you first. So when a client has a problem, they feel confident and comfortable reaching out, right? We want to build that strong relationship with our clients. Now, mistake 4 is not setting clear expectations. You have to prepare the relationship for success. When you don't have clear expectations and boundaries established, you set yourself and your clients both up for a lot of frustration, right? And nobody wants that. You're frustrated at clients who seem over demanding, like they're taking advantage of you, or maybe they're frustrated because they don't think you're helping them like you think they should, or they think you should, right? Clear expectations eliminate frustration. They put all parties on the same page with what they can expect, how things are going to work, and what the process is. It brings clarity to the relationship. It's important to be clear from the start. That's why when I teach and talk about onboarding, when we go through the onboarding lesson in Profitable Project Plan, we are starting with communications that set the tone for the entire project. We are establishing boundaries. We are setting expectations. We are reviewing the process at the very start so that everybody gets on the same page. This sets up your relationship for long-term success, right? When you communicate everything the client needs to know, they have greater trust in you. They sit back and they don't micromanage things as much, right? And they let you do the job that you are hired for. Right? That is a magical spot to be. Mistake number 5 is not appreciating clients enough, right? We have to appreciate the business that we have. You have to make every client feel like they're your number one client, that they matter to you. Some words of caution. Over time, Retainer work, especially website support work, can become super monotonous and boring. Most retainer work isn't challenging work. If you're saying, I want to be challenged, I want to work on hard projects, this isn't the model, right? This isn't typically what happens. Now, development retainers are a little bit different because you're working on new features and adding new functionality to sites. But for graphic design services, content services, especially website support services, it gets monotonous and repetitive. And when it gets monotonous and repetitive, we start to take it for granted, right? We kind of think, well, we're going to get paid every month no matter what. I don't have to put as much effort into it, right? And over time, sometimes the quality starts to go down. This mindset is super dangerous because it leads to mediocre performance, nonchalant clients that are like, I'll cancel this service. And then it leads to lost business. So once you earn a new retainer client, a new ongoing monthly revenue client, your primary job is to keep them as long as possible. And the easiest way to keep them as long as possible is to make sure they always feel valued and appreciated. Reach out, check in, right? Do little things, incorporate surprise and delight into your processes along the way. Delivering extraordinary services month after month helps strengthen your client relationships. It positions you as an indispensable part of their team, and it creates unparalleled loyalty. Loyalty that turns into money every month and oftentimes referrals to new great clients, right? That loyalty is monthly money you can depend on. And when you know I have a certain amount of money coming in every month, then you know that you have that money to work with, to grow and reinvest and pay bills and pay your team and hire subcontractors and market and do all of those things. It boosts your profitability so that you can do more in your business. Now, mistake number 6, this is the last one, not using a clear contract. Last doesn't mean it's not the most important. Retainer items that you want to consider in your contract are different, right? When you're talking about monthly services and things like that, they're a little bit different than what goes into a one-off contract, right? So in addition to like your normal scope of work and normal applicable terms, there are some things you want to consider for people you're bringing into a recurring revenue model, like hours allocation. How many hours do they get from you a month? Right? How are those hours going to be spent? What will you be billing against that hours block for? Will you be billing for phone calls, admin work, email, project management, admin time, along with the work you're actually doing? How are those hours going to be allocated? What's your availability and your response time? What happens if a client needs something at night or on the weekend? How fast can they expect a response from you? What's that project roadmap look like? What are you going to be doing for that client every month? For some retainer services, you outline what's going to happen every month and you do the same thing month after month after month after month. For something like a development retainer, a project roadmap outlines maybe the next 6 months, the goals of where you want to be and how you're going to get there and what you're going to do each month to get closer to that goal. Project scheduling. When are you going to do the work? Right? What is that schedule? If a client buys 10 hours, can they show up on the last day of the month and say, hey, I'm ready for my 10 hours? Probably not. How does project scheduling work? What happens if a client wants more work than you have hours for? What happens if they want you to do things that aren't included in your support plan? How do you handle the additional scope? What happens to unused hours? What if somebody buys a block of 20 hours and they only use 10? Do the 10 that they didn't use roll over to the next month? And now they have 30 hours? And let's say they don't use those hours. Did it roll over to the next month and now they have 50 hours? That's insane. Right? That can set you up for massive, massive struggle. So you want to think about what happens to those unused hours. Do they disappear? Is it use it or lose it? Or do you have a maximum number of hours that can roll over? Like no more than 5 hours can roll over each month. That's something you need to consider and put in your contract. What are the payment details, right? Do you let people pay by check and potentially send that check in late? Do you require any of your monthly support plan people to be on credit card that gets billed the first of the month every single month? For large development retainers where they're spending thousands of dollars a month, do you require a wire transfer on the first of the month, right? What are your payment terms? And what is the cancellation terms? What if a client wants to cancel? And what if you want to cancel? How much notice do they need to give you? And what does the process look like of winding down and handing over assets? That needs to go in your contract, right? You want to make sure that you cover your time to do what needs to happen to wind down a project, package everything up, and manage handoff to a client. There are undeniable benefits to bringing recurring revenue into your business. There's less stress and less pressure to make new sales, which means you'll have more margin in your business. With that stable baseline of income coming in every month, you can be more selective about those one-off projects that you take on. If you've ever heard somebody say, I'm in a lucky position to be able to be choosy about the clients I work with. I don't have to take on everybody that comes my way. This is the trick to making that happen. Now, known income, stable, reliable, recurring foundation of revenue that's not tied to those new sales provides greater peace of mind, stability, and security. You can grow your team with less risk. You can plan for future growth with confidence because you know exactly how much money you have coming in every month in recurring revenue, and you know how much is available to reinvest to meet your goals. And additional services means more ways for clients to work with you, which means you can retain those clients longer. And you'll see the lifetime value of your clients begin to creep up until you have got an amazing, valuable client relationships with clients that view you as an indispensable part of their team. Now, I've mentioned Profitable Project Plan a few times throughout this lesson. I know that we want to talk about it a little bit as well. It is a 10-month-long program, 35 live lessons, 35 Q&As, hundreds of worksheets, call frameworks, all kinds of different things. Everything about the program was created for me to simplify and streamline client and project management, because when I'm behind my computer, I want to do amazing work I'm proud of, number one. But I also want to work as little as possible and make the most money as possible so I can go play and do other things, right? I want to reduce the time spent on projects and make a lot of money without sacrificing client experience, product quality, and my sanity. So you might notice, if you take a look at Profitable Project Plan, all this stuff about recurring revenue, while I talk about it being completely, totally critical to the success of an agency or a freelance business, it's not the first thing we cover. We start by talking about and dialing in financials and money matters, sales calls and contracts, because you have to feel confident when you're speaking with prospects and closing sales, right? You want to close sales with way more ease. Then we get into client management for one-off website projects. That way you can increase profits. Then that client management system and those increased profits allows you more time to invest in marketing and lead gen and bringing in new business. So the lucrative leads unit of Profitable Project Plan ensures that that lead gen is bringing in the right clients, the clients that you want, those who value what you do and are happy to pay your full rate. Then, once we've got the money that matters dialed in and the contracts done, we've got the systems to boost our profitability, we've got leads coming in, then and only then do we say, all right, how do we add more revenue streams to our business? How do we bring in recurring revenue? Because if we did all that recurring revenue first, we'd be running around with chickens with our heads cut off. We'd be running around like maniacs and we'd be overwhelmed and we'd be on the verge of burnout because we wouldn't have all of these other things to support us in our businesses. And like I said, 2020 has been a tough year for a lot of people, but people in Profitable Project Plan are having their best year in business ever. Like Claire doubled her revenue and Sean made back his entire investment in just the first couple months. It is the most amazing thing to have been able to watch. And you can save, if you want to join us for 2021, if you're tired of sitting on your hands watching Netflix and letting the pandemic and the business climate kind of happen to you, if you're ready to say, I want to take charge of my business, I want to take charge of my financial future. I want to have my best year in business ever. You can join us and save 40% on your enrollment, which is kind of amazing. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we also are going to give away a spot. Yeah. I know there are probably questions. So I would say maybe we'll take some questions if we want. And then we can do a giveaway.
There are some lined up already. Yep. So this is the link again, wpagencysummit.com/PPP, so that we can track where you are coming from. And I wanted to get a question out from Graham. He isn't authenticated with StreamYard, as it seems, so that's why his face isn't showing. But he says, I love this and the idea of selling SEO services. Unfortunately, I find selling SEO to clients super hard. But I'm pretty sure that you have some advice for Graham about this. Like, how does he get more confident? How does he find the right clients?
Well, number one, I don't think it's a matter of finding the right clients to sell them to, because every business should be investing in this, right? If you're having a hard time selling something, it means the client isn't seeing the value in it yet. Right? So it means that you're not communicating the value in a way that is resonating or lining up with the client themselves. So if you're having a hard time, and this is for any service, if you're having a hard time selling something or getting clients to say yes, it's because what they want and the value you're communicating aren't aligning. So you want to think about, what is the most important thing to the client? What are their business goals? What are they trying to achieve? Do they need more money? Do they need more sales? Do they have certain sales numbers they have to target? Like, are they an employee of a bigger company and they need to look amazing to their boss because they're trying to get a promotion, right? What is important to your client, and how can you position the service you're selling as that thing that's going to help make that happen? Right? When you can do that, all sales become easier. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to SEO is helping clients understand that most struggles with a site, the answer isn't a redesign. The answer isn't a new, oh, my opt-in isn't working, I need a new opt-in. Nope, no, you don't. You just don't have enough traffic to make it happen. Right? Most business challenges online aren't problems with the things they have in place. They're traffic problems. They don't have enough visibility. They're not getting found by enough people. And when you can communicate that and help clients understand that and say, I'm going to be the person that makes sure you're found, then you're going to get more people to say yes.
I love it. I love it. And there are so many good questions coming on that I honestly have a hard time choosing which ones to show up here. So probably this is a good one from Christina. Her head is spinning. There's just so much to know. So how do you stay sane in this journey?
That is a great question. So I can tell you, you're not alone. Right? I think they're like everybody across the board, and I don't care where you're at in your business. If you're brand new, or you've been in business for 10 years, or you've been in business for 20 years, it's the same, because there's always new things and technology is always changing, and we're always looking at what can we learn and how can we get better. So you're definitely not alone there. And I would say that is probably the primary reason that Profitable Project Plan is lifetime, right? It's one investment, and you have lifetime access to everything in the program. So I can tell you that we have people that joined in 2017 that they still are coming to lessons, right? Even in 2020, they're still coming to lessons because they're picking and choosing. What's the goal in my business this year? Right? What do I want to improve in my business this year? Right? I want to dial in recurring revenue, or I want to dial in my website systems. I want to add automated communications with my client and educations with my client. Right? When I added automations into my business, it reduced the admin time I spent on projects by 50%. So you can't say, I want to learn everything. I want to do everything. I want to implement everything. I think it's a matter of looking at what's the goal I have for my business right now? How do I get to that goal? When you get to that goal, then you set a new one. And until you reach that goal, you put blinders on, right? There's like this bright, shiny object syndrome of like, ooh, pretty, ooh, sparkles, ooh, I want to learn that. And we distract ourselves. So while normally we set a goal and say, okay, I want to achieve X, and it could take you maybe 3 months. We get all distracted, and then it takes us 6 months. Or maybe it takes us an entire year to do something that if we had just stayed focused, we could have gotten done faster. So I'm a fan of set a goal, put on blinders, and get that goal done, and then set a new goal. And again, that's why, like Profitable Project Plan with lifetime access, you can focus on your goal without stressing out that you're going to lose access to everything, because you can come back anytime. And it's not just lifetime access to what you get the year you invest. It's everything new in the program that comes, you automatically get it too. It's just you are in really and you get everything, because I don't want to manage it any other way.
Yep. Absolutely. And we just got a request to share your coupon codes again. So if we could bring up that slide, that would be fantastic again.
Let's see.
And then
it's up.
We'll just keep our faces right next to it so that we can keep the discussion going on. So that's everything you need to know about PPP. And then Alicia has a really good question that I would love to have your thoughts on. What about selling WordPress coaching services or mini courses, teaching folks or their VA how to manage their sites, especially with all the innovations and changes in the software? What do you think about, instead of selling a service, selling a course to your customers so that they can implement the service?
Well, clearly, I am a fan of courses. I have created several, right? Profitable Project Plan, packaging and pricing, proactive productivity, estimating e-commerce, confident comebacks, right? All of these different things. So clearly, I'm a fan of courses. I incorporate education and training into all of my website projects, right? Client guides, PDF training materials, educational materials, right? Because our clients need help. Right? WordPress is not easy, right? Even like Squarespace, it isn't easy when you've never seen it before. So education and training is a key part of delivering client services. My husband works with a lot of government clients doing website projects, and they call it knowledge transfer, right? Transferring that knowledge from you to them. So I am a huge believer in training and education. And I definitely think there is a space for people who are DIYers or who are virtual assistants that are that middle person between a client and a designer and a developer, or that virtual assistant that implements on behalf of a client. There is definitely a solid market in there for people that say, hey, I'm a virtual assistant. My client wants me to manage their website. I want to make sure I don't accidentally like white screen this thing. What do I need to know? How do I make sure I'm making the best choices on behalf of my client, right? I think there's definitely a market there. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. And Molly just had a really good point about your program. She's enrolled, by the way. So thanks for being with us, Molly.
It's because Molly's smart.
She is. And she has a really smart perspective on this investment. And she counteracts the price of PPP with the time that she saves by going through it and skipping all the painful lessons you would have to learn yourself, all the mistakes she would be making. And one of the other questions I would love to bring on, if I can find it again here, there we go, is a question that's very easy to make mistakes on. And you've talked about how unused hours could roll over into the next month, and then they pile up and pile up and pile up. What do you do with it usually? What do you recommend in PPP?
We either do all of my contracts are either use it or lose it, or a maximum of no more than 5 hours per month rollover. But use it or lose it is basically the way that I do it the most of the time. And here's why. The only reason when you have clients that buy blocks of hours, most of the time, the only reason you get to the end of the month and there are unused hours is because you didn't proactively manage the client relationship. It's your fault. Tough love, folks. But I can say it because I've made those mistakes, right? That's why I feel okay saying things like that. Like, I've been in the spot where I've poorly managed client projects where they would buy hours, and every person would show up at the last week of the month and be like, I'm ready to spend my retainer hours, because they're like realizing it's the end of the month and they haven't used them yet. And then I'm working an 80-hour week. Whose fault is that? Mine, because I didn't set a meeting with every client at the beginning of the month. Right? The number one thing you should do if clients are buying hours is on the first of the month or the first Tuesday, the first day, whatever it is, get a meeting, a recurring meeting booked with that client where you say, okay, it's a new month. Let's look at what we achieved last month and where we're at. Let's look at what we're going to do this month. What are our goals? What's the work that's going to be done? Then you know how you're going to spend those hours that month. And it's up to you to get the work done. Right? You manage that, and then you don't really have that problem. So most of the time, all my contracts are use it or lose it because I proactively manage the getting it done. And if the client still has unused hours at the end of the month, it's usually because they are not getting stuff done on their end. I've asked and driven, and they're not doing their part. And so when I say, sorry, it's use it or lose it, they know it's their fault and they're fine with it.
Yeah. And that also keeps you on top of mind of your clients, and that also justifies
100%.
charging a higher price because they see how invested you are in their success. I couldn't agree more with this. There's another good question. Sorry that you have been on client calls all the time. There is the replay. This video stays up, and this coupon code stays up too. So definitely go through this webinar again and again. Jennifer shared a ton of value. And before we wrap this up, there are two more questions I would like to go through if you have the time, Jennifer.
Sure, we'll do those two questions and then we can give away a spot in Profitable Project Plan.
Love it. One question is, how do you transition existing customers into your recurring revenue services?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So there are a few different ways to do that. If you are working with a client that you're going through a one-off, like a website build, right? There are a lot of people that are like, I don't take a website unless they also sign up for recurring, website support, right? They put it in the contract at the very beginning. And that's fine for all those people that are working with people with unlimited budgets and marketing budgets that they already know of, and enterprise clients with teams of people and whatnot. But when you're working with the mom and pop shop or another freelancer or a tiny company, one, you don't know if they're crazy yet. So do you really want to sell it to them at the beginning? They don't know if they even like you yet, right? They have no experience with you. You're asking more of a commitment up front. You're asking for a bigger commitment and more money up front, which makes it harder for them to say yes. I'm always like, get the easiest yes, and then wow them with how amazing you are so they want to keep working with you. So sometimes I might put it at the beginning, but most of the time I'm seeding the idea of support throughout the project and I'm upselling it towards the end. So built into all of the communications and the email sequences and all of the things that are part of Profitable Project Plan and the programs and the projects that I run are communications that seed the idea that launching the site is only the beginning. Launching the site is step one, right? We have to think about, how are you going to care for this site? How are you going to protect it? How are you going to maintain it? How are you going to make sure that it's being cared for so it doesn't get hacked, right? What are security considerations you need to be considering? Who's going to do this? Do you want to be responsible for all that? Because if you don't, I can do it, right? So we kind of seed that idea and nurture that idea. And then towards the end of the project, when we're talking about launch, right? When you're prepping the client for the website launch and you're preparing for the launch, you're having that conversation. Hey, have you thought more about who's going to do all the work to take care of this thing? Because software has updates and bugs and security patches and all kinds of other things that you have to do. Are you going to take care of doing all that? Because if not, I can do it for you. I got your back, right? And we prep it there again, right? And usually I'll say, are you interested in learning more about that? Can I send you over some information? Most clients at that point are like, yeah, I don't have time for that. So we send them over a proposal for support. And I like sending it before the launch because after the launch, we do training. And on the training call, we go back and say, have you had a chance to look at that? Did you have any questions? Because you got to make a decision here. Someone has to take care of this. If you don't, that's how sites go down. That's how sites get hacked. That's how porn gets put on websites, people. Right. So we seed it all the way through the projects and things like that. In terms of website support, in terms of other things like design or SEO or content management, those are conversations that I'm having with clients sometimes after the fact. Like the best time to sell content management services is like 3 months after the project launched and the client hasn't done anything, or they've published like one blog post.
Yeah.
Is to say, hey, you had lofty goals and I'm noticing things aren't being published. Can I support you? Right? Can I help you? Can I help you get this done? Can I take some work off your plate? Like that's the best time to get a yes.
I love it. That is so cool. And then the last question before we do the giveaway actually ties in really nicely into it. And that is from a friend of mine who would love to take part in PPP and ask about a breakdown. Like how's the course structured? Can you walk us through this?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm actually just going to pull up my sales page because it's the best way to, it's the best way for me to walk you through everything because there's so much stuff in it. Profitable Project Plan is a 10-month long program. There are 35 live training lessons. This isn't something where you sign up and you're watching pre-recorded videos. It's me and you live. Like me and you. I am training, you're asking questions, we're having dialogue about it. Live. So it's broken up into 5 components. First is the sensible sales unit. We talk about getting paid on time, every time, right? We talk about money and payments and all of those things, sales calls and contracts. Then we move into the client management section. And this is all about automating education, training, and communication and client management for those one-off website projects, right? From onboarding and welcoming clients to strategy definition, guiding clients through the design process, the development process, priming them for launch, outbound client care, right? And even helping clients with copywriting and getting their content done so you avoid those irritating delays because clients don't get you their content on time. Once we've dialed that in, we go into the lucrative leads section. That's 9 live trainings that are part of that section that are dedicated to lead generation, communicating what leads need to know to say yes, dialing in your website, your lead capture forms, how you manage and segment and assess leads that are coming in, and then ideas and options for offline and online marketing to get the clients you need and the right clients you need, and then putting together a plan for that. We then have the recurring revenue unit, which we talk about best practices for recurring revenue, contracts, change orders, all the things. We talk about support plans and development retainers, content design and SEO services, and nurturing those relationships. And then we wrap it up with a unit on branding because let's be honest, a lot of clients that hire you to do their website don't have their logo done and they don't have branding in place. That is something that you can add to your services to increase that client value. And now each of these lessons, it's me and you live, but each of these lessons also has everything in the lesson in a PDF handbook because some people learn better when they read it. And they can highlight it and they can make notes. Like I'd way rather prefer to print a PDF and make notes and read it and write about it and do all of that. So you get everything in PDF format, everything in live video, and then everything's recorded. So you can reference the video recording or download the audio version of the lesson if you want to listen to the audio. So we have, what else is in there? God, there's expert interviews. My friends come and give you all their secrets in interviews that I do behind the scenes that supplement the core training. And then also you get a copy of my contracts and my change orders. You get all the emails, templates that I've written for clients. You get all my templates, my call frameworks, the guides and educational materials I've created for my clients, the checklists that I use in my business. It's basically my whole business, but in a box.
Like a turnkey business?
It totally is. I basically got to a point where I'm like, look, my business runs very, very well, and I do really well. And I got really tired of seeing people that I think are even more talented than I am struggle because they just didn't have systems in place. And I'm like, if you just had the stuff that I had, like you could make amazing money and take vacation and do all the things that I do. And so I kind of got to a point in my business where I was like, okay, I could share this with people. Because let's face it, a lot of people are going to take the program and they'll do part of it, but everybody that implements it a little bit different. And because everything you're implementing is for one-on-one services with your clients, right? And you can customize everything I give you from the copyright to the logo. It looks like you did all the work to create it. Now, I put hundreds and hundreds of hours into this and did focus groups and all kinds of things to dial things in. You just get to take it, put your logo and your colors on it and use it. And it creates a streamlined, consistent experience for your clients from start to finish, right? And that's the goal. You want to show up as the expert that your clients need, and you want everything they get from you and every experience along the way to reinforce that hiring you was the best decision they could have ever made.
Love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Should we do the giveaway?
Let's do the giveaway. All right. So I think the best way to do this that I love is if you are interested in getting a spot in Profitable Project Plan, it's a $2,000 value. All we want from you is to share in the chat how you see this making a difference. What are you most excited about? If you win a spot in Profitable Project Plan, what are you most excited about? And then we'll give you like 2 minutes to do that. And then I'm going to make you pick a winner.
Oh,
I'm not going to pick the winner. Pressure's on.
Tricky. Alrighty. Time's running. But that is so amazing. I'm blown away by the value that you just shared for free in this presentation. That is really helpful.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really nice. And I love seeing people stay with us during the webinar. So that is something that rarely happens, and that speaks to the quality of the presentation you've just given. And people, if you want to win, you've been watching all the time. Why not leave a comment? just share what you have been most excited about. Share it with us. Here's a really good one. Here's one on YouTube that's coming close. But there is so much gold in this presentation. So even if you are not winning, I think PPP,
I love this one. Sleep more hours.
Yep.
Yes. 100% yes. I am with you on that. Yes, sleep more hours. I started my business when I was 4.5 months pregnant with my second child. I had a 2-year-old and I was pregnant, and I took maybe 2 weeks off when I had Carter. And then I was working basically around the clock because he was a terrible sleeper too. And when I got to that point where I was like, I hired my husband to run everything in my business I didn't want to do. And then I told him that I was quitting. And he was like, no, you can't do this. And that's when I'm like, okay, some things need to change in my business, right? If you want things to change, you have to make the change. And that's when I realized I need to spend some time building systems, right? Building systems, building processes, documenting how things go so I can delegate it or I can automate it or I can do that. And sleep was huge.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if PPP also makes toddlers sleep longer. Then that will be a game changer.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, so nice. We see so many friends. You're making the choice really hard. So many good comments coming on here. And so maybe we'll just give them another minute to wrap things up, and then I'll have the honorable task to pick a winner here. Thanks for putting the pressure on me, by the way.
It's so much better when I don't have to pick. I love this one. I might have missed. Okay, funny enough, I've seen your website when I was searching for better content structure. So I think that would be the biggest motivation behind getting the course. I love that. I always love when they're like, I've seen your site before. I'm like, good. Then what I'm doing is doing its job. Even though I got kind of lazy about it this year because, well, it's this year.
Yeah, this year has been, well, what did Matt say? Matt Mullenweg, the first, with many firsts in this year, in the State of the Word yesterday. Alrighty, let's pick the winner here. Time is up, friends. And I would love to give this course to Howard, because he speaks from a perspective that I can really emphasize with when I was starting out, that there is no security when you don't have the processes in place. And I've been there. I know how uncomfortable it is. And Jennifer, you shared that you've been there too. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Howard, congratulations.
That is amazing. Howard, congratulations. We will be in touch with you after this. I'm going to send a coupon code over that will let you register for a 100% discount so you can join us. And there are some prep assignments in there for you to get started on right now, so you don't have to wait until January. But it'll help you get some of the balls rolling now so that when January comes, you are prepped to hit the ground running.
I love it. Love it. And he's really, really happy, as it seems. So Howard, we are Facebook friends, I know. So I'll connect you with Jennifer directly. That would be nice. And that is a really, really classy move David does. Thank you for supporting each other. That is one thing I love in this WordPress community, by the way. It's that we cheer for each other rather than competing with each other. So
yeah,
it's, I think, the best way to wrap this up.
Definitely.
Love it. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on again. Everybody, if you want to check out Jennifer's program, it is wpagencysummit.com/PPP. Totally honest, I get a little kickback if you use that link. So much appreciated if you decide. I think it is a really, really helpful and really valuable program. Jennifer, thank you so much.